What's going on, pimps? Yes, I know I missed May 4th, and I recognize that as a Star Wars fan, I have disgraced myself. There's nothing you can say that would make me feel worse than what I've already said to myself. However, you are welcome to try. I did want to talk about the new Ryan Gosling Star Wars movie that'll come out in May 2027, I believe. And if you're wondering, we do not know yet if he will beat Darth Vader to death with the crowbar and leave him with like that half face mask look that he got in Obi-Wan. Actually, pretty much anytime he gets in a fight, they're not allowed to kill him, obviously. So they just like make him get beat up enough for that one part of that one part of his mask to get broken every time. I'm sorry, Palpatine just used Force Confuse on me right there. Anyhow, just a brief description before we get into the article about it. It's Ryan Gosling is basically going to be a pilot 5 years after Rise of Skywalker ish. And he will be a force sensitive pilot. Of course, like I said, that beating Darth Vader to death with a crowbar thing is still in limbo. And while I can't say it is happening, as far as I know, I don't know if it's not going to happen. Anyway, the name of this article is Ryan Gosling's Star Wars movie Starfighter can be the perfect replacement for one part of The Mandalorian. Like I said, it's really pushing hard for some Mandalorian crossover here, but I'll sum up that part really quickly just so you're not really missing out on the bulk of the article. And basically it's saying since the Razor Crest was shown in the announcement of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, that the N1 will basically be up for grabs. Since they're going back to being bounty hunters, they need a more bounty hunter kind of ship, and the N1 obviously isn't that. So if the N1 isn't being used, maybe Ryan Gosling can use that when he becomes a pilot or whatever. And I'm not even sure if he's going to be a pilot for the New Republic. But anyway, moving on with the article. Announced at Star Wars Celebration 2025, Sean Levy's Star Wars movie is a standalone set a few years after Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. Though details are sparse, we know that Starfighter will focus on entirely new characters, with Gosling to believe to be taking on the role of a possibly Force-sensitive pilot. Given the title's connection to the nearly 25-year-old Star Wars Starfighter game, which followed a group of pilots dealing with the Trade Federation before the events of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, Starfighter's links with the Mandalorian franchise and its upcoming film, The Mandalorian and Grogu, may seem weak. Basically, after that, it just kind of goes a little bit deeper into what I was talking about the link between the possibility of him using the N1 Starfighter. If we're going by the article, the Mandalorian is a bounty hunting for the New Republic, right? So if his N1 becomes like New Republic property or something like that, then I could see how that falls into Gosling's hands if he's also a New Republic pilot, but then don't they still use X-Wings, right? Just because Luke was Force sensitive and everybody knew it too, right? So that they could sense his aura from 1 nautical mile away, but just because he was Force sensitive doesn't mean he gets a special ship, right? He still used his X-Wing. At the end of the article, though, which I'll read, it does go over some like marketing tactics about being able to reuse the N1 for Ryan Gosling's character as like a marketing thing, so that they could see. Another Force confusion just got laid upon me right there. Give me a second. So that they could keep marketing already made or to be made N1 merchandise or whatever. I really don't think there's a reason for that, and I think that would be kind of lazy too on Disney's part, but I guess maybe it's not really the biggest plot point as far as what we can figure out from this movie. Anyway, moving on, there was this BBC article that I found as well that went over some more details of the movie that I wanted to go over really quick. It's mainly just some quotes that I wanted to read that came from Gosling and Levy about the project that I think are like positive indicators towards the production of the movie in a general sense. The reality is that this script is just so good. It has such a great story with great and original characters, said Barbie actor Gosling at a Star Wars celebration in Tokyo. It's filled with so much heart and adventure that there just really is not a more perfect filmmaker for this particular story than Sean. Gosling's lifelong passion for the franchise was on display at the event, which showed his childhood Star Wars bedsheets on screen. You can see them from the picture. I guess I was probably dreaming about Star Wars before I even saw this film, he said, and it's probably framed my idea of what a movie even was, he said. Now, I really like the idea that he's talking highly of Sean. I don't know how much work that they've done together, considering the only thing I know Sean Levy from is Stranger Things, and the only thing I know Ryan Gosling from is Crowbar Simulator, basically, and all of his. It's literally that's literally me guy from like Demogorgon whatever in the ultimate crossover for a Star Wars movie, which I find kind of fascinatingly strange, so to speak. But he is talking very highly of him, which I do think is good. Having that relationship between the showrunners and the talent, I think in most cases it would generally prove, if you looked in like past movies, is going to be a better the movie that they're making, whatever product is being made, is going to come out a little bit better. Once again, I'm going to reference The Witcher like I did in my God of War video. With the whole thing between what's his name, Superman, I can't remember his name, Superman, and whoever was running the show. The people who were running the show, again, for some reason, who didn't even care for the source material, and dude who was like diehard and really liked it on screen, couldn't come together. And of course, Superman walked. It's implanting the idea that it wasn't the actor who played Superman being the Witcher, it was Superman being the Witcher. So he just freaking like laser beams everybody in the room and just juts out straight into the freaking sun. But anyway, that situation went face down, cheeks up immediately, so that's not good. So hearing him talk about the project so passionately, and the person who arguably has one of the bigger creative controls over the project itself, is pretty good. The new space adventure is not a prequel, not a sequel. It's a new adventure. It's set in a period of time we haven't seen explored yet, added Levy. Now, with this happening in the future pretty much, it does leave a little bit more wiggle room. I'm pretty sure, like, there's obviously going to be comics and stuff like that, but with things happening in the past, with so much already like established shows and lore and characters already having taken place during that time, you have to tread carefully with the source material and what you can do and with what's been established already. And that, I feel like that can have a hamper on things. Like, I would love to see, like, we've seen Star Wars, what is it, Visions? What if we had like a Star Wars, you know how Marvel does that Star Wars like what if thing? What if we did that with Star Wars, right? It's the same thing with the Halo show, going back and changing a bunch of stuff with Reach. Like, why do that instead of exploring something that we haven't really seen as much yet? So with that out of the way, but there is one thing that I do theorize that could happen. If he's a pilot, and if he's a force sensitive pilot, I feel like Darth Vader is that like one centerpiece that connects anything Star Wars, right? Whether it be a game or a show, it's almost like guaranteed. I feel like you put freaking Vader at the end of the season or at the end of the game, and that's like your little tie-in to bring it into the freaking circle of Star Wars, right? But Darth Vader's a great pilot because Anakin was a great pilot. We all know that one quote, "All I'm surrounded by is pissed pants and pooped diapers," right? While he's in his freaking TIE Advanced about to duel with a bunch of rebel pilots. So, what are the chances that if he's force sensitive or if he's just a really talented pilot, we might have a little, instead of like it being a rogue Jedi or like a retired Jedi or something like that, former, whatever it is, having an encounter with him, why not have it not necessarily even be a Jedi at all? Put the force sensitive in there, they connect through the force, he's like, okay, and then they have a little confrontation, and we see a little bit of a different dynamic of the Vader being tied in. That's not just another like lightsaber duel where he freaking dominates the Jedi like he's a sub or something, right? And no, I'm not talking about a freaking Subway sandwich. Not talking about the freaking 6-inch. But yeah, those are really all my thoughts on that. Happy May 4th, even though it is May 5th. And go yourself. Bye.
That's what I know.